Hello YouTube fans, here again. And as we've gone about Christmas films, why not this one? I remember reviewing it before, and as it's the season to be sloppy, la 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 la, why not? That being Gremlins. That's right, Gremlins. From the same producers what given us The Owling and given us the famous classic 1978 film Piranhas, giving us this film Gremlins. And I kind of like this film because there's a lot of love letters to all his films in it. There's a little bit of chicken kicks in the film. Like there's a scene in it where a lad's walking near the fids, and you've got the smiley face sticker. Remember the smiley killer in The Owling? You get a few stars also from The Owling, and as well as piranhas make test appearances in the film. So it's definitely a good film, and again, it's directed by the man Steven Spielberg, who, funny enough, the same year in 1984 worked with the producer of George Lucas to do the second Indiana Jones film, that being Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now, for people who may or may not know this, originally Gremlins was going to be out of fire. Mogwai was going to be sort of like the Stipe character, who's going to turn into the evil Gremlin with the thing on its head, attacking people. They were going to be eating people. Seriously, this is how violent it was going to be. The muffler was going to get beheaded with a sword. But happy to say, Steven Spielberg, as you already know, doesn't like films that are 18. He doesn't like films that are too violent and so on. And he wanted to alter that. He didn't want, it's going to be near Christmas time. He didn't want it to be blood and guts and sort of like another film. So he altered it. Which I'm kind of happy in one way because I didn't want the the little mogwai to turn into an evil little monster nearly at the end of the film, killing everybody. So I'm kind of happy about that. So instead, you get the father of the film, and he's sort of like showing the background story of how it happened. If you've seen Gremlins, you know what I mean. If you get it wet, it will multiply. Which doesn't actually say that at first. I kind of like that. You know what I mean? He goes to this Chinese shop and a Chinese Thai. I love this guy actually. Sad to say he died where they was filming the second Gremlins film. May he rest in peace. But he was the one, if you remember, Enter the Dragon, the one who was the main villain. Well, they dubbed over his voice. They actually used his voice, which is funny enough. He played Taiko in the original Gene on it. Before they had Gene on it with Bruce Lee, there was another Gene on it, and he actually played Taiko in the original 30s, the Gene on it. But yeah, he's like this old Chinese guy, and he wants to buy Mogwai. No, 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 not for sale. But this kid wants the money because the shop's not doing that good. And he sells the dad the Mogwai, and that's when he tells him about the rules. Don't get it wet. Don't feed it at midnight. Don't put light near it. Blah blah blah. Everyone remembers the film. So you've got the jigsaw, Chase Smith, and I'll do the rest. And then you've got our main character, who's sad to say, you don't seem to see him a lot now in films. I remember reviewing Ratsworks. He was in that, and I loved him in Ratsworks. And he's in this, and he's a typical lad. He's working in a bank, and he fancies one of the girls who's in the bank. Another actress you don't see anymore, famous for being in a TV series called Lace. Been in a lot of other comedies and a lot of other things as well. And you got a love interest between them, and that's when he gets Mogwai. The father advises him what's happened and not to get it wet. And it's kind of funny because the dad's advised him, and all the way through the film, he fucks up. He fucks up. He does this, he shows it light when you shouldn't do ties, so you sort of feel sorry for Paul Mogwai. But then you've got one lad in it who you might remember has been in a lot of other films. He was in The Lost Boys, and the same year when this come out, he did Friday the 13th, the final chapter, as well as made a test appearance in the fifth one, and the same year as the fifth one did the Goonies. But he's been in a lot of films, and they're talking, and he accidentally gets Mogwai wet. And as it does, that's when you get the story of the old motor pie. But I love the idea that the Mogwais are all evil, they're the opposite than Mogwai, the evil little shits. And again, they break the rules, and they act tell for talk when the father advises them not to. And that's when they turn into them evil gene monsters. At first they're cocoons, and they come out and they're attacking people, and I love it. Because it has horror, but it has comedy, and it definitely has a lot of dark humour. So it definitely was a black comedy. And I do know that because of it being pretty scary, they altered the rating. Originally, the rating was going to be a PT in this country. They altered it to a 15 because they felt it was too scary for kids. So long for Steven Spielberg wanted to make a family flipping film. And in America, it had the first PT-13. I'm saying that in the last review. It was the first time you ever got a PT-13, unless you want to include Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. But so it dealt out a new rating in 1984 called in America called the PT-13. And I can see why there are some bits in it where to say it's a bit scary for kids, you know, bits with Stipe, the bit where the Gremlins attacking the Muffler instead of it beheading her. The lad comes in the nick of time and he beheads the Gremlin, and the actor was Sam Tanaka. I kind of miss Sam Tanaka because I sort of like him in this, you know what I mean? It's the same way he never made it that big. He did a few TV shows in the early 90s and he did a sequel to Ratsworks, which one day I might do it on the road. I did Ratsworks, stud film, two damn good unestimated horror films, I may add. And there's a bit in it where the doe who he falls for now tells a story. And you think about it, it's a bit over the top and you probably laugh and think, this is laughable. It's really hilarious. It's over the top. But the way she does it, she delivers these lines about her dad dying, dressed up as Santa and he fell and he snapped his neck. Honestly, right, I've seen films that have really sad endings, really shitty, sad endings, make you want to cry. Me being a man's man, being proper hard, no tear in my eyes. But after watching that, seriously, I cried the river. One day around the road, I might do, like I said once before, movies what made me cry. And movies what made you cry. Certain scenes, whether it be Rocky 3, where Mick dies, whether it would be Sane, where Sane dies in the 30s and 1979 version of Sane. Whether, not Sane, the Champ, Sane, they're the Champ. You remember the Champ, the boxer. Either the 30s version or the 79 one. And other films that make you cry, Dago. But this scene always makes me cry. It's just the way she delivers them lines. It's so sad, it's emotional. And it's really a sad, emotional scene. Even the Mogwai almost thinking cries as she's telling the story. It goes, ah. But yeah, I do like the scene. I like the bit in the cinema and they're playing the seven dwarfs and they blow up the cinema. And you think they've done for, but it does Stipe being the main Gremlin, the one with the big fluff on its head. That's Adosis attacking people, and I do have fun dying it. I'm gonna forget it. Them damn Gremlins. He's been in a lot of these films with the same director. It's funny enough to say him there. He had a big career. He was in Free the Final Battle in 2 episodes. He got shot by one of the visitors. Funny enough, he got shot by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Do you remember a shopkeeper who's selling guns? And he says, "You can't buy that." And Arnie says, "Wand," and shoots him. This actor's been in a lot of films. He was in the original Piranhas. He was in the original Owling, the one that was selling bullets. And he was in this, and I like him. I love the bit where the thing's passing through. He said, damn things, ah! And you think he got killed, but I don't know if that's not the case. Because when they made Gremlins 2, they sort of brought him back with his wife. So like I say, you don't see him a lot now, and I know he's really getting on now. But I loved him in that. He was in a lot of films, loads of films. Whether it be Chopping More, whether it's the films I've just said. The list goes on. But again, going on to the story, Stipe's going down with our lad, ties to a motorbike, Mogwai saves the day, because he was watching some old film before, knocks the sun, Gremlin gets stuck, gets burnt to a crisp, end of Gremlin. And there's a bit in it where they sort of really done that in the sequel, where maybe one of the bubbles breaks out and all the other Gremlins get motorbike, but different story. There's one mess up in the film though, because there's a bit in it where they're watching the news and Mogwai's watching the news and you've got the young girl and she says, no, no, Mogwai, no. And then suddenly it alters to the muffler. So there's one little mess up there in the film, which you've never noticed that. Always watch the scene where you see the turf end of the lad, Sam Tarragon, says, no, Mogwai, no. And suddenly it jumps to the muffler saying it. I thought, that's one sip up in the film. But again, the old man comes in because they took the Mogwai, they didn't buy it, remember, they took it. He wants his Mogwai back, he's really pissed off. But then he sort of says to the lad, one day you can have the Mogwai when you rise, which can kind of understand all the mess ups he's done. He walks off, you get the voiceover of the father again. The actor is sad he's no longer with us as well, may he rest in peace. And he does the voiceovers, one day there'll be a Gremlin. And you got that date music, dow, 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 not do the rest. And it stood, I mean, in 1984, it was a big hit film. And you think about it, 1984 was a damn good hit films. You had Indiana Jones, The Temple of Doom, you had Gremlins, you had Red Dawn, you had the original Nightmare on Elm Street, the film I just said, the original The Exterminator. That's an era I miss when it comes to films. And 1984 brought a lot of damn good films. That being a Christmassy film, that being Gremlins, into them. I do more movies and more movie reviews on the way. And if you like what you see, press that magic button and sub, or leave a nice comment, or even write something you might want me to talk about. But into them, people, be smart, be safe, and I'll see you later.